Hi, Lillian.
Hi.
You told me that you've had few results so far from reaching out to mainstream editors to get them to cover your book or
Mm-hmm.
write about you, interview you, review your book. Uh, do you think that there is a political component to some of this indifference to your message?
Well, I think there certainly is, but I think there are two components. I think the first one is that I'm unknown in the media, in my name, basically. And the second one is that I'm a strong anti-Zionist,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I think my message is one that that is not easily picked up.
Yes. But when you say unknown, I mean, a lot of people are unknown who become known, and one reason they become known is because people find their stories compelling. And I should think that your stories, frankly, is very compelling. That you were a refugee from Nazi Germany, and so you have a deep understanding of the Jewish experience. And in your view, that does not include what Israel has become.
I agree that I think my book is very important, and it's a matter of who I can reach out to and who is going to pick it up. I hope it gets into the mainstream media, but I think it raises so many questions,
Hmm.
and so I've been trying, but I have not gotten any
I
responses
see.
from the people that I've written to.
Now, Lillian, every author thinks their book is very important. And when you use those words, I know that you're not being a self promoter strictly when you say that. Can you convey what is important about about your book? Why you think that it's important that Americans and intellectuals consider what you have to say?
Because I am a refugee from Nazi Germany. I'm Jewish. I was very voiceless for many, many years, and at a certain point in my life, when I traveled to Israel, I recognized that there was something going on which shocked me, and that was the occupation of the Palestinians and the treatment of the Palestinians and the quest for a Jewish state only. And I found my voice, and because I identify with refugees, I also identified with Palestinians and their plight. So my book is not against Israel or against anything. My book is against stopping the occupation.
Hmm. Do you think it's hard for editors to hear that?
I don't know. I would like to have a chance to discuss it with them. I suppose it is,
Yeah,
because look at the mainstream media. Where do you find anything?
yeah,
It's especially the New York Times, and I would love to be
yeah.
reviewed in the
Of
Times.
course, of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, there is very little. And I think I have a very unique voice in what I have to say. And I'm not trying to promote myself, but this is how I feel about this book and the comments I have gotten from readers.
Tell me about a couple of them.
Oh, they've been overwhelmed by it. They found it extremely deep, and they identified with it, and it gave them a lot of reason to think.
Hmm.
And it was, as you've mentioned, was a wrenching, very true, and deeply honest story.
In these troubled times where, people are concerned about terrorism, they're concerned about the shattering of the Middle East, they're concerned about Muslims
Hmm.
and different cultures intermingling, is Zionism an answer?
I think that Zionism, in the way that it's perceived now, or as I understand it, to make a Jewish state only in Israel is not the answer. I think the answer is to stop the occupation and for the United States not to support Zionism and the European Union also. In other words, to also see the plight of the Palestinians, because I think the support of Israel is also what's feeding into the
Hmm.
terrorism in the world.
Hmm.
And I don't mean Israel to not support it, but to not support the occupation is what I
Hmm.
really
Can Zionism be redeemed?
mean. Not in my view. not in its present incarnation.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in nationalism in this form.
I see. And lastly, Lillian, you've told me that you don't have any objection to speaking at synagogues or to Jewish organizations, and yet you've also suggested to me that you don't think that it's hard having those conversations. What do you mean? Tell me what is. Elaborate.
Well, I have no objection speaking to an open community where not everyone is Zionist, because Zionists tend to completely disagree with me, and it's like I'm just trying to express something of myself, and I just want to be heard.
Yes.
I don't want to argue about the Zionism and a Jewish state. I
Yes.
want to offer something.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if that's possible.
But you are undermining your story, and your message somewhat undermines the premises of their whole enterprise, right?
I don't know. I don't think I can respond to that. I have to think about that. Well, I don't quite know what you mean by
Well, I mean in the same sense that if you went into the Jim Crow South and said that, blacks and whites are equal, all human beings are equal.
I could easily do that.
You could have.
Look, I could easily do that.
No,
I would be less frightened than going into to a completely Zionist synagogue. I mean, if I were invited along
Yeah.
with somebody else, perhaps, so we could talk, and
Yes.
I would certainly be happy to do it. But so far, I have not gotten
I
any
see.
invitations. So,
But what I meant by the Jim Crow analogy was that you would, in the Jim Crow days, you would be undermining the principles of the Southern political order by saying blacks and whites are equal.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that aren't you undermining Zionism when you say that Palestinians and Jews are equal and should have equal rights in Israel and Palestine?
am I undermining Zionism? Is
Yes.
that what you ask? I'm ready to undermine this form of Zionism in any way.
I see.
And I think we are equal. We're brothers. And this has gone on much too long.
And it requires that type of ideological intervention to end things.
I've lost my train of